2 months before the wedding, she discovered that she has a cancer. Carla stood by the large bay window of her cozy apartment, watching the world outside bathe in the golden hues of the afternoon sun. The scent of fresh flowers wafted through the air, courtesy of the beautiful bouquet of peonies Jordan had gifted her that morning. Their vibrant pink petals mirrored the excitement bubbling inside her, a feeling that was almost tangible as she thumbed through the wedding planner on the coffee table. With each turn of the heart raced a little faster. In just 2 weeks, she would be walking down the aisle in a beautiful white gown, ready to marry the love of her life, Jordan. The thought sent a rush of warmth through her, and she couldn't help but smile as memories flooded her mind, moments that had shaped their relationship and brought them to this pivotal point. It was a warm summer day 2 years ago when Carla first met Jordan. She had been busy showcasing her latest artwork at a local gallery. As she explained the meaning behind one of her paintings to a small crowd, her gaze drifted to a tall figure leaning against the wall, his deep blue eyes locked onto hers. There was an intensity in his gaze that made her heart skip a beat. "Your work is incredible," he had said after her presentation, his voice smooth and confident. "You have a way of making emotions come alive on canvas." Carla blushed, her cheeks heating up. "Thank you. Art has always been my way of expressing myself. I'm glad you can see that." From that moment on, they were inseparable. Jordan had a way of igniting her passions and bringing out her creativity. As a graphic designer, he appreciated art in all its forms and often encouraged her to explore new avenues. Their shared love for creativity and adventure deepened their bond and set the stage for a beautiful romance. Months passed, and one chilly evening in December, Carla and Jordan strolled through a local Christmas market. The festive lights twinkled like stars, and the air was filled with laughter and the scent of roasted chestnuts. Jordan had led her to a quiet corner, where a giant tree stood adorned with dazzling ornaments. "Carla, I have something to ask you," he said, his voice slightly shaky as he reached into his pocket. The moment felt surreal as Carla's heart raced in anticipation. With a deep breath, he knelt down on one knee, revealing a stunning diamond ring that sparkled in the soft glow of the lights. "Will you marry me?" Tears of joy filled her eyes as she nodded, her voice caught in her throat. "Yes! 1,000 times, yes!" As he slipped the ring onto her finger, they embraced, and the world around them faded away. All that mattered was their love and the future they envisioned together. Now, as she looked out at the bustling street below, Carla felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She had always envisioned her wedding day as a fairy tale, a moment where she would pledge her love to Jordan in front of friends and family. But there was an underlying sense of anxiety. What if everything didn't go as planned? What if she stumbled on her words or tripped in her gown? She brushed her fingers over the intricate lace of her wedding dress hanging in the corner of the room. A beautiful reminder of the day to come. It was more than just a dress. It was a symbol of her commitment to Jordan, to their love story that had grown stronger with every passing day. In that moment of reflection, Carla felt grateful for the man who had stood by her through every challenge and triumph. Jordan was her rock, supportive, loving, and devoted. He had been there to celebrate her victories and to lift her spirits during her struggles. His presence had always been a comforting anchor in her life, making her believe that they could conquer anything together. As she prepared to dive into the final details of the wedding, her thoughts drifted to the future. They had shared dreams of a cozy home filled with laughter, a flourishing family, and a life filled with adventure. Carla closed her eyes for a moment, visualizing their life together. A warm kitchen filled with the aroma of freshly baked cookies, the sound of children's laughter echoing through the halls, and the gentle touch of Jordan's hand intertwined with hers. With newfound determination, she opened her eyes and took a deep breath. This was only the beginning. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew they would face them together, stronger, united, and in love. "Carla, are you ready?" Jordan's voice rang out from the hallway, breaking her reverie. "Just about," she called back, her heart swelling with joy. As she turned to greet him, a smile spread across her face, reflecting the love that filled her heart. Carla rushed to the door, her excitement bubbling over. This journey of love, with its twists and turns, was only just beginning. Together, they would face whatever life had in store, hand in hand, heart to heart. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden light throughout Carla's apartment. She sat on the edge of her bed, surrounded by wedding planning materials, samples of flowers, swatches of fabric, and lists of to-do items. It was a thrilling time, yet her mind felt heavy with a sense of unease she couldn't shake. After a long day at work, she had decided to take a moment for herself. As she closed her eyes, she tried to breathe in the joy of her upcoming wedding, but the tension in her chest only grew tighter. It was just a lingering feeling, she told herself. Nothing to worry about. Later that evening, while preparing for bed, Carla performed her usual self-exam, a routine she had adopted after hearing her doctor emphasize the importance of it during her last visit. But as her fingers brushed against her breast, a hard lump sent a wave of panic coursing through her. "What is this?" she whispered, her heart pounding as she felt it again, her mind racing with possibilities. Suddenly, the vibrant colors of her wedding plans faded into a dull gray. She stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, uncertainty flooding her thoughts. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a cyst, she reasoned, but a deep, gnawing fear settled in her stomach. The next day, Carla's mind was a whirlwind of anxiety as she sat in the sterile examination room of her doctor's office. Her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt as she awaited the results. Jordan had offered to come with her, but she insisted on going alone, wanting to shield him from the worry she felt spiraling within her. "Carla, everything looks normal, but I recommend a mammogram for further evaluation," Dr. Thompson said gently, her voice a soothing balm against Carla's rising dread. Hours later, Carla found herself in another room, dressed in a flimsy gown that felt like a cloak of vulnerability. After what felt like an eternity, the technician finished the mammogram and left the room. Carla's heart raced as she waited, her mind replaying every moment of her life, dreams, plans, and the love she shared with Jordan. When Dr. Thompson entered again, Carla's heart sank. The look on her doctor's face was serious. "Carla, the mammogram results indicate that you have a lump that requires further testing," she said, her tone firm yet compassionate. "We'll need to do a biopsy to determine if it's cancerous." The biopsy felt like a blur, but the news hit her like a tidal wave. "You have breast cancer," Dr. Thompson's words echoed in Carla's mind, a haunting refrain that turned her world upside down. The room spun, and for a moment, she felt detached from reality. "No," Carla whispered, shaking her head as tears streamed down her cheeks. "I can't. This can't be happening." Her thoughts raced as she grappled with the implications of the diagnosis. She was supposed to be planning her wedding, dreaming of the future she wanted with Jordan. Now, everything felt uncertain, like the ground beneath her was crumbling away. As she drove home, Carla's heart was heavy with dread. She replayed the conversation with Dr. Thompson over and over in her mind, desperately trying to process the gravity of her situation. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, knuckles white from the pressure. What will I tell Jordan? The thought sent another wave of panic through her. Would he still want to marry her? Would he see her as a burden? The fear of losing the love they had built together felt suffocating. When she finally stepped into their apartment, the familiar scent of Jordan's cologne surrounded her, but it was tinged with sadness. She could hear him in the kitchen, humming a tune as he prepared dinner. The warmth of their home clashed with the chill in her heart. "Hey, babe, how was the appointment?" he called, stepping out of the kitchen with a bright smile that faded as he saw her face. Carla's throat tightened, and she struggled to find the words. "Jordan, I need to talk to you," she managed, her voice trembling. Jordan's expression shifted from concern to worry as he approached her. "What's wrong?" In that moment, Carla realized how difficult this was going to be. How could she find the right words to tell him about the battle they would have to face together? How could she convey the fear and uncertainty that threatened to overwhelm her? Taking a deep breath, she looked into his eyes, searching for the strength she knew he would provide. "I found a lump, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer." The silence that followed was deafening. Jordan's expression morphed from concern to shock, and his eyes widened in disbelief. "What?" His voice cracked, the weight of her words sinking in. Carla, no, this can't be true. Tears streamed down her cheeks as the reality of their situation settled in. She felt like she was watching their future slip away, and the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her heart. Jordan, I don't know what this means for us, for our wedding, she whispered, her voice breaking. Without hesitation, he took her into his arms, holding her tightly as she sobbed against his chest. We'll figure it out together, he whispered, his voice steady and full of conviction. I love you, Carla. Nothing will change that. As Carla clung to him, the warmth of his embrace enveloped her, grounding her in the moment. But deep down, the fear still lurked. What lay ahead, and how would their love withstand the challenges that awaited them? The room felt heavier now, each tick of the clock amplifying the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air. As Carla stood in Jordan's embrace, she felt the warmth of his love wrap around her like a protective shield. Yet the shadows of doubt loomed large in her mind. Jordan pulled back slightly, his hands gently cupping her face, his gaze steady and unwavering. Carla, listen to me, he said, his voice calm yet filled with urgency. This doesn't change how I feel about you. I'm still in this, no matter what. I love you, and I want to marry you. Carla searched his eyes for any hint of hesitation, any sign that the burden of her illness might sway his feelings. But there was nothing but sincerity. Are you sure? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I don't want to drag you into this. I don't want to be a burden. You could never be a burden to me, he said firmly, wiping away her tears with his thumb. We've built something beautiful together, and I'm not going to let anything, not even cancer, take that away from us. We'll figure it out together, I promise. The sincerity in his words pierced through her fear. Yet a nagging doubt still clung to her heart. What if her illness changed everything? What if she couldn't be the wife he deserved? The thought made her chest tighten. That night, Carla lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling. Jordan had fallen asleep beside her, his steady breaths a reminder of his presence. But as she turned to face him, a sense of guilt washed over her like a cold wave. He was a man with dreams, ambitions, and a bright future ahead of him. Yet here she was, threatening to shatter it all. What if I can't be the partner you need? She murmured into the darkness, her heart racing as she contemplated the implications of their reality. What if I become too sick to hold up my end of our marriage? Jordan stirred, his eyes fluttering open. Hey, he said softly, turning to face her. What's going on in that beautiful mind of yours? I'm just scared, Carla admitted, her voice trembling. I don't want to hold you back. I'm supposed to be your partner, but what if I can't be that? What if I'm just a weight around your neck? Jordan reached for her hand, interlocking their fingers. You're not a weight. You're the woman I love, and we're a team. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. And if things get tough, I'll be right there by your side. You can't push me away just because you're scared. But what if I become too much for you? She pressed, her voice cracking. What if I can't be the Carla you fell in love with? He took a deep breath, clearly frustrated by her doubts. Carla, I'm not marrying a version of you. I'm marrying you, the complete, flawed, beautiful you. You're strong, and you've always been the one to lift me up when I needed it. Let me be there for you now. Tears welled in her eyes as she contemplated his words. She felt both grateful and terrified. I don't want to ruin our wedding plans. We've worked so hard to create this future, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Plans can change, but my love for you won't, he replied, squeezing her hand gently. We can adjust, we can postpone, we can elope, or we can do whatever we need to do to make this work. Just know that I want to marry you, Carla, cancer or no cancer. Carla's heart swelled with a mix of fear and love. She had always known Jordan was supportive, but this felt like an entirely new level of commitment. Still, the idea of being a burden haunted her thoughts. The next morning, as sunlight streamed through their window, Carla woke up with a heavy heart. Jordan was already up, preparing breakfast in the kitchen. The smell of pancakes filled the air, but the joy she once felt at the thought of their wedding was now tainted with worry. Morning, sleepyhead, Jordan called, flipping a pancake with a grin. His enthusiasm was infectious, and Carla couldn't help but smile despite herself. Hey, she replied, joining him at the table. As they sat down to eat, she felt the weight of the decision looming over her. Carla, have you thought about what we talked about last night? He asked, his voice softer now, laced with concern. She nodded, pushing her food around her plate, the anxiety gnawing at her. I have, and I don't want to cancel the wedding. But what if I can't be the wife you envisioned? What if I can't do all the things we planned together? Jordan reached for her hand, his eyes filled with understanding. You're going to fight this, and we'll face every challenge together. But I need you to be honest with me. Do you want to go through with the wedding? Yes, I do, Carla said, her voice steadying as determination flickered within her. I want to marry you, Jordan. I just need time to process everything. That's okay, he replied, squeezing her hand gently. We can take it one step at a time. Let's focus on your health first, and then we can decide on the wedding details. It's important that you feel good about this, too. The resolve in his voice ignited a spark of hope within her. Carla felt the weight of her worries begin to lift slightly. I just don't want to let you down, she said, her heart aching with vulnerability. You could never let me down, Jordan assured her, his eyes softening with love. Whatever happens, we'll navigate it together. I believe in us, and I believe in you. As they finished breakfast, Carla felt a sense of clarity begin to form. She was terrified of the challenges ahead, but with Jordan by her side, she could face anything. Their love would be tested, but she was determined to emerge stronger, together. The sun peeked through the wispy clouds, casting a golden glow on the garden where Carla and Jordan had chosen to say their vows. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves overhead. It was a picturesque day, one that Carla had always dreamed of, yet an undercurrent of apprehension tugged at her heart. As Carla stood in front of the mirror, she took a moment to appreciate the woman staring back at her. Dressed in a delicate lace gown that hugged her curves perfectly, she felt beautiful yet vulnerable. The makeup artist had done wonders, softening her features and highlighting the love reflected in her eyes. But beneath the surface, anxiety swirled within her like a storm. Are you ready? Her best friend Mia asked, peeking into the room with a wide smile. You're about to marry the love of your life. Carla forced a smile, but her heart raced. I'm ready, I think, she replied, her voice trembling slightly. I can't shake this feeling of uncertainty. Mia stepped inside, concern etched on her face. It's normal to feel that way. You're embarking on a huge journey together, especially with everything going on. She paused, placing a reassuring hand on Carla's shoulder. But remember, love is powerful. You and Jordan can handle anything. Carla nodded, the warmth of her friend's words wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. She took a deep breath, feeling the love that surrounded her. This was her day, a day filled with hope, love, and the promise of forever. As she walked down the aisle, the soft strains of a string quartet filled the air. Each step felt monumental as she approached Jordan, who stood at the altar, his expression a blend of adoration and unwavering support. He looked dapper in his navy suit, a smile illuminating his face as their eyes locked. Wow, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the gentle rustling of leaves. You look breathtaking. Carla felt her heart swell as she reached him, a sense of calm washing over her in that moment. They were surrounded by close friends and family, their love a beacon of light amidst the challenges they faced. The ceremony was intimate, filled with laughter, tears, and heartfelt vows. Carla and Jordan exchanged promises, their voices trembling with emotion. Jordan's vows struck a chord deep within her heart. I promise to stand by your side through every trial and every joy. I will be your strength when you feel weak, and together, we will conquer all. As Carla spoke her vows, she felt the weight of her diagnosis fade into the background. If only for a moment. I promise to love you fiercely and without reservation, to share in your dreams and support you in your struggles. Together, we will write our story, no matter what challenges come our way. The officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and as they shared their first kiss as a married couple, Carla felt a rush of warmth and love envelop her. This was their beginning, a new chapter that they would navigate together, hand in hand. After the ceremony, the reception buzzed with laughter and love. Friends and family gathered around, celebrating their union. Carla felt elated, surrounded by the people who had supported her journey. She twirled on the dance floor with Jordan, their laughter echoing in the air, a stark contrast to the fears that had lingered just days before. Yet, beneath the surface the joy, a subtle tension remained. Carla couldn't shake the reality of her diagnosis from her mind. As the night wore on, she stole glances at the empty chair that had been reserved for her oncologist, a reminder of the road ahead. "Are you okay?" Jordan asked softly, pulling her close as they swayed to the music. "You seem a little distant." Carla hesitated, unsure of how to voice her concerns. "I'm just thinking about everything, about what's next," she admitted, her heart heavy. "I want to enjoy this moment, but I can't ignore what's looming over us." Jordan tightened his grip around her waist, his eyes searching hers. "We can't ignore it, but we don't have to let it overshadow our happiness today. Let's promise to face whatever comes together. Right now, let's just be in this moment." With a nod, Carla took a deep breath, allowing the love swirling around them to fill her heart. She focused on the warmth of his embrace and the joy of their shared laughter, if only for a little while. As the evening progressed, they cut the cake, shared dances with their loved ones, and basked in the joy of their commitment. Each smile, each toast, each gentle squeeze of hands felt like a promise, a vow to face the future side by side. When the festivities wound down, they found a quiet moment together, away from the crowd. They stepped outside into the cool night air, the stars twinkling above them like scattered diamonds. "It's beautiful," Carla murmured, gazing up at the sky. "Just like you," Jordan replied, pulling her close. "We did it. We're married." The weight of their circumstances pressed in on her again, and Carla took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "I know we're supposed to celebrate, but I can't help but worry about the future. What if the treatments change me? What if I can't be the partner you need?" Jordan brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, his expression unwavering. "We'll figure it out. I'm not marrying you just for the good times, Carla. I'm marrying you for all of it. The laughter, the tears, the challenges. That's what love is about. We're a team, and I'm in this for the long haul." Tears brimmed in Carla's eyes as she looked at him, overwhelmed by the depth of his commitment. "Thank you for believing in us," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm scared, but I'm also hopeful. I want to fight for us, for our love." "Then we will," he replied softly, wrapping his arms around her. "No matter what comes, we'll face it together, I promise." As they stood under the stars, Carla felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. They were beginning a new journey, one filled with love, challenges, and the strength to overcome anything. Together, they would create their story, one of resilience, hope, and an unbreakable bond. The days turned into weeks, and the initial excitement of the wedding began to fade, replaced by the harsh realities of Carla's diagnosis. As she sat in the sterile chemotherapy room, the cold air prickling her skin, she looked around at the other patients, each person fighting their own battle. Carla couldn't help but feel small and vulnerable, a stark contrast to the radiant bride she had been just weeks ago. "Just a little prick," the nurse said, with a reassuring smile, tapping Carla's arm to find a vein. Carla swallowed hard, trying to steady her racing heart. She had read about the side effects of chemotherapy: nausea, fatigue, hair loss, and the fear of the unknown loomed over her like a dark cloud. As the medication flowed through the IV, Carla felt a wave of dread wash over her. Would she still be the same person after this? Would she still be the loving partner Jordan deserved? "Hey," Jordan said softly, squeezing her hand as he settled into the chair beside her. His presence was a balm to her anxious thoughts. "You're doing amazing, Carla. I'm so proud of you." She managed a weak smile, but inside she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. "What if I change? What if I can't be the person you fell in love with?" Jordan's brow furrowed as he brushed his thumb over her knuckles. "You are still you. Cancer doesn't define who you are. I fell in love with your strength, your passion, and your heart. No matter what happens, I'll be right here with you." The chemotherapy sessions became a routine, an uninvited chapter in their love story. Each treatment left Carla drained, her body feeling like a lead weight. The hair loss hit her hardest. One morning, as she stood in front of the mirror, she watched as strands of her once lustrous hair fell away, leaving her feeling exposed and fragile. "Let's make it a celebration," Jordan suggested one evening, a playful glint in his eye. "How about we do a head-shaving party? We can make it fun." Carla's laughter broke through the tension, and she nodded, appreciating his attempt to lighten the mood. Okay, but only if you do it with me. That weekend, friends gathered at their home. With laughter filling the air, Jordan wielded the clippers, his hands steady as he sheared Carla's hair. She closed her eyes, allowing the buzzing sound to drown out her fears. When he finished, he stepped back to reveal her reflection. You look stunning, he said, his eyes shining with love. You're beautiful, Carla. Her heart swelled as she caught sight of herself in the mirror. Yes, she was different, but she was still her. As the weeks passed, Carla and Jordan learned to navigate this new reality together. They discovered that honesty was their greatest ally. They talked openly about their fears, the emotional toll of cancer, and what it meant for their future. Sometimes I feel like a burden, Carla admitted one night as they snuggled on the couch, watching their favorite movie. I worry that I'm dragging you down. Jordan turned to her, his expression serious. You could never be a burden to me, Carla. You're my partner. We're in this together, remember? I want to support you through this. His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. They shared moments of laughter amid the darkness, watching silly comedies, cooking together, even when Carla was too tired to help much, and finding solace in each other's presence. On particularly tough days, when the fatigue washed over her like a wave, Jordan would curl up next to her, reading aloud from her favorite books or playing their favorite songs on his guitar. It was in these quiet moments that Carla felt their bond deepen, the love between them growing stronger than ever. Remember when we first started dating? Jordan asked one evening, his fingers dancing over the strings of his guitar. We had that spontaneous road trip, singing our hearts out? Carla chuckled, feeling warmth spread through her. And you got us lost for hours, Jordan laughed, his eyes sparkling. But we found that beautiful beach, just you, me, and the endless horizon. Those were the best days, she replied, her heart aching with nostalgia. Just think of this as another journey, he said, his voice softening. We'll find our way through this too. You're not alone, Carla. His words filled her with hope. Each day brought its own challenges, but they faced them together, learning to adapt and find joy in small victories. Carla started a journal to document her feelings, capturing both the highs and lows of her journey. During one of her darker moments, she wrote, Even on the hardest days, Jordan's love is my anchor. It reminds me that I am not defined by this illness. Together, we can weather any storm. As she read the words back to him one evening, he pulled her into his arms, kissing her forehead gently. That's the spirit, my love. We'll come out of this stronger than ever. As the weeks of treatment unfolded, Carla discovered a crucial lifeline in support groups. The initial thought of sitting in a circle of strangers sharing their deepest fears felt daunting. Still, Jordan encouraged her to attend, reminding her of the healing power of connection. Just give it a try, Carla. You might be surprised at what you find, he said one morning, gently squeezing her hand. You're not alone in this. With a hesitant heart, Carla attended her first meeting. The small room was filled with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. As she settled in, she felt the weight of uncertainty heavy on her shoulders. But as the conversation flowed, she began to listen to the stories of others, stories of hope, despair, love, and loss. Each voice added to a tapestry of shared experience that resonated deeply within her. Hi, I'm Lisa, a woman with a warm smile said, her eyes bright. I'm 2 months into my treatment. Some days are great, and others feel impossible. But I've found that sharing helps. Carla nodded, feeling her heart open. As the group shared their journeys, she felt an unexpected sense of belonging. When it was her turn, she took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly as she spoke. I'm Carla. I'm newly married and just started chemotherapy. Some days it feels like I'm losing control. After the meeting, she felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. She and Jordan talked about the experience, and she shared her reflections with him. That's amazing, babe, he said, pride shining in his eyes. I knew you would find a connection. It's good to talk about what you're feeling. Encouraged by her newfound support system, Carla began attending regularly. She met women and men from all walks of life, each sharing unique stories that inspired her. They discussed coping strategies, shared practical tips, and formed bonds that transcended their illnesses. Jordan often accompanied her to meetings, offering support and participating in the discussions. "I want to understand what you're going through," he told her one evening. "Your journey is mine too." Through these shared experiences, Carla learned to articulate her fears more clearly. One evening, she shared her anxiety about the future, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if I can't beat this? What if our dreams together are taken away?" Jordan took her hand, his grip firm and steady. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together. I believe in you, Carla. You're stronger than you know." As the weeks passed, the couple found ways to escape the intensity of treatment through short trips to local attractions. They visited nearby parks, art galleries, and even took a weekend drive to a quaint beach town. These little adventures brought back a sense of normalcy and joy amid the chaos of cancer. On one such trip, they strolled along the shoreline, the salty breeze ruffling Carla's short hair. "This is beautiful," she said, watching the waves crash against the rocks. The vibrant sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, and for a moment, she felt at peace. "Just like you," Jordan said, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. "Beautiful and resilient." They paused at a small cafe overlooking the ocean, sharing laughter over ice cream sundaes and silly stories from their childhood. The warmth of Jordan's laughter filled her with comfort, reminding her of the life they had built together. "This is what it's about," Carla said, a smile spreading across her face. "Cherishing each moment, right?" "Exactly," Jordan replied, his eyes twinkling. "And making memories that last a lifetime. Cancer can't take that away from us." With each trip, they explored new places and created memories that reminded them of the beauty in life. They danced in the living room to their favorite songs, filled the house with laughter, and found joy in the simplest moments. Carla began to realize that despite the challenges, life was still full of wonder. One evening, as they watched the stars from their backyard, Jordan turned to her, his expression serious. "You know, this whole journey has changed my perspective on life. It's made me appreciate every moment with you even more." Carla nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Me too. I've learned to focus on what really matters, our love, our dreams, and each other." They shared a heartfelt kiss, sealing the promise of love and strength as they continued their journey together. Through the trials they faced, Carla felt a renewed sense of purpose, her love for Jordan blossoming in ways she never imagined. As they embraced under the starry sky, Carla knew that no matter what lay ahead, they would navigate it together, hand in hand, heart to heart. The weeks turned into months, and with each passing day, Carla faced a myriad of emotions as her treatment journey continued. While she had moments of hope and laughter, there were also times when the weight of her diagnosis felt almost unbearable. It was a Tuesday when the first wave of complications hit. After a particularly grueling chemotherapy session, Carla felt an overwhelming fatigue that left her struggling to get out of bed the following day. She had planned a small celebration for finishing her second round of treatment, eager to mark the milestone with Jordan, but her body had other plans. "Carla, are you okay?" Jordan asked gently, noticing the pallor of her skin and the way she clutched the blankets around her. He sat at the edge of the bed, concern etched across his face. "I don't know," she whispered, tears threatening to spill. "I thought I'd be feeling better by now. Why can't I just bounce back like everyone says?" Jordan reached for her hand, squeezing it softly. "It's okay to feel this way. It's a lot to handle. Just take it one day at a time." The feelings of doubt began to swirl within her, and for the first time since her diagnosis, Carla felt as if she was losing control. "What if this never gets better? What if I can't do this anymore?" Her voice quivered with fear. Jordan leaned closer, his eyes locking onto hers. "You're one of the strongest people I know, Carla. We're in this together. Just because today is tough doesn't mean tomorrow will be too. Let's focus on getting you the care you need." The following days brought further challenges. Carla faced severe nausea, hair loss, and exhaustion that left her feeling vulnerable and exposed. She watched as her reflection changed, and the person staring back at her seemed so different from the vibrant woman she once was. Jordan remained a pillar of strength through it all, tending to her with unwavering devotion. He would sit beside her during treatment sessions, holding her hand, whispering sweet nothings, and distracting her with stories about their future together. Remember when we talked about traveling to Paris? You're going to feel better, and we'll be sipping wine by the Eiffel Tower. He promised, his voice laced with hope. In those moments, Carla could see the love radiating from him, and it reminded her of what they were fighting for. Yet the shadows of despair lingered, and on one particularly hard night, Carla found herself spiraling. I can't do this, she sobbed, frustration bubbling over. What if I never get better? What if I'm a burden to you? Jordan wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. You are not a burden, Carla. You're my wife, and I love you. We're in this together, remember? There's no what if, only we will. His words, simple yet powerful, grounded her. As she cried into his shoulder, Carla felt the weight of her fears begin to lift, even if only slightly. It was during these trials that Carla and Jordan discovered the depth of their love. They learned to celebrate small victories together, finding joy in moments that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. After a particularly successful treatment session, where the doctor announced that Carla's tumor had shrunk, they decided to indulge in a mini celebration. It was a spontaneous decision, but one filled with meaning. They headed to their favorite local restaurant, the one where they had shared their first date, surrounded by the warmth of familiarity. Cheers to you, my warrior, Jordan said, raising his glass filled with sparkling water. Cheers to us, Carla replied, a smile breaking through her earlier doubts. As they clinked their glasses together, Carla felt a sense of hope bubbling within her. I'm so grateful for you, she said, her heart swelling. I don't know how I would get through this without you. Jordan smiled, his eyes softening. You're the one fighting this battle, Carla. I'm just here to cheer you on and remind you of your strength. You're doing this. We're doing this. Days free of pain became milestones to celebrate. They started a ritual of marking each week with a small celebration, a movie night, a picnic in the park, or even just cuddling on the couch with their favorite snacks. Each victory, no matter how small, was a reminder of the love that anchored them. Through every setback, they found a way to lean on each other. Carla discovered a strength she didn't know she possessed, fueled by Jordan's unwavering support. In return, Jordan found a deeper appreciation for the bond they shared, realizing that love was not just about the easy moments, but about weathering the storms together. In the quiet of the night, as they lay in bed, Carla turned to Jordan, her voice soft. Thank you for being my rock. I never knew love could be this strong. He brushed a strand of hair from her forehead, a tender smile on his lips. And I never knew I could love someone this much. You're my everything, Carla. With those words, Carla felt a warmth envelop her, reminding her that no matter how difficult the road ahead, they would face it hand in hand. As they drifted off to sleep, she held on to the thought that even in the darkest moments, their love would be the light guiding them through. As the last days of Carla's chemotherapy approached, a mixture of hope and anxiety filled the air. The end of treatment was supposed to be a time of celebration, yet the looming uncertainty about what came next stirred an unease within her. Each day felt like a step into the unknown, where healing was just as scary as the disease itself. One evening, as they sat on the porch of their home, the sun setting in a brilliant display of oranges and pinks, Carla's heart raced with apprehension. What if the cancer comes back? She confessed, her fingers nervously twisting a strand of her hair which had begun to thin. What if I'm not strong enough? Jordan shifted closer, his presence a soothing balm. Carla, I know it's scary, but you've been through so much, and you've come out stronger each time. We can face whatever comes next together, he reassured, his voice steady. But what if I can't? She whispered, tears welling in her eyes. What if I'm never the same again? Maybe you won't be the same, but that doesn't mean you won't be amazing, Jordan said softly. You've shown me what real strength looks like. This journey has changed us both, but it's also brought us closer. Trust in that. As the evening sky darkened, Carla let his words sink in, realizing that she had to confront her fears head-on. You're right. I need to trust our love and the support we have. I can't let fear control me, she said, taking a deep breath. Jordan smiled, pride glimmering in his eyes. That's my girl. We've faced so much already. Whatever happens, we'll take it one day at a time. With renewed determination, Carla decided to shift her focus. Instead of dwelling on what might go wrong, she wanted to do something that symbolized her journey, something that would help others like her. The last day of Carla's treatment arrived, a milestone she had both dreaded and longed for. As she sat in the hospital's infusion room, surrounded by the comforting buzz of machines and the steady hum of voices, she felt a mix of emotions. It was finally over, yet the journey had changed her in ways she could never have imagined. Jordan held her hand tightly, his warmth grounding her. "You did it, Carla. You faced it all with such courage," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Tears brimmed in Carla's eyes as she nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you, Jordan. Your love made every step easier." After the nurse removed the IV and handed Carla a certificate of completion, she felt a rush of relief and accomplishment. "We should celebrate," she said, a smile breaking through her tears. "Absolutely. How about a weekend getaway? Just the two of us," Jordan suggested, his eyes lighting up with excitement. "I love that idea. Somewhere we can unwind and just be together," Carla replied, her spirits lifting at the thought. They settled on a cozy cabin in the mountains, surrounded by nature's tranquility. As they drove away from the hospital, the weight of the past months slowly lifted from Carla's shoulders. She gazed out at the changing scenery, taking deep breaths of the fresh air, feeling as if she were emerging from a long, dark tunnel into the light. That evening, as they settled into their cabin, the warmth of the fireplace enveloped them, casting a gentle glow around the room. Jordan poured 2 glasses of wine, raising his in a toast. "To you, to us, and to new beginnings." "To new beginnings," Carla echoed, clinking her glass against his. The wine tasted sweeter than ever, and with each sip she felt lighter, as if the burdens she carried had finally begun to melt away. Later, wrapped in each other's arms on the couch, they reflected on the journey they had shared. "You know, this experience has shown me how resilient we can be," Jordan said softly, brushing a thumb across Carla's cheek. "You're my hero." "I feel like I've rediscovered myself," Carla admitted. "I want to use my experience to help others going through similar struggles, maybe even start a support group." Jordan's eyes shone with admiration. "That sounds amazing. You have so much to offer, and I know you'll make a difference." As they relaxed, the conversation naturally shifted to their future. "Have you thought about what comes next for us?" Jordan asked, his voice filled with curiosity. Carla smiled, feeling a rush of warmth at the thought of their life together. "I've always dreamed of starting a family. I want to have kids one day, share our love with them." Jordan's expression softened, and he pulled her closer. "I want that too, but I want to make sure we're both ready, physically and emotionally." "I agree," Carla said, her heart racing at the thought. "Let's take our time, enjoy this newfound life, and when the moment is right, we'll take that next step together." "Together," Jordan repeated, a reassuring promise in his eyes. "We'll navigate whatever comes our way." "I'm all in, Carla. You and me." As the fire crackled and the stars twinkled outside, Carla felt a deep sense of peace settle over her. They had faced the darkest moments of her life and emerged stronger and more connected than ever. In Jordan, she had found not only a partner, but a love that would endure any trial. "I love you, Jordan," she whispered, her voice filled with sincerity. "I love you too, Carla. Always," he replied, sealing their promises with a soft kiss. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of their love and the beauty of the world around them, Carla knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The journey had changed her, but it had also strengthened their bond, filling her heart with hope and excitement for the future. As they cuddled on the couch, gazing into each other's eyes, Carla felt ready to embrace whatever came next. The past months had tested them, but they had emerged triumphant, hand in hand, ready to write the next chapter of their love story. The soft morning light streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on the room, filled with laughter and love. Carla sat on the floor, surrounded by an array of colorful toys as her 2 children played nearby. Her heart swelled with joy as she watched them, a beautiful reminder of the life she and Jordan had built together. It had been a few years since that tumultuous time, and today, Carla felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. She was cancer-free, stronger than ever, and eager to give back to the community that had supported her through the darkest days. The journey had transformed her, It had not only tested her strength, but had also deepened the love and connection she shared with Jordan. In the afternoons, they volunteered at local cancer awareness initiatives, sharing their story to inspire others facing similar battles. Carla often spoke at events, reminding those in attendance that hope and love could thrive even in the toughest of circumstances. She had also started a blog where she chronicled her journey through cancer, detailing both the struggles and the triumphs. The response had been overwhelmingly positive, and she found solace in the connection it fostered within the cancer community. As she watched her children giggle and chase each other around the room, memories of her past flooded her mind. She thought of the countless moments spent in fear and uncertainty, the pain of treatments, and the anxiety that had shadowed her days. But intertwined with those memories were the beautiful moments. Jordan's unwavering support, the tender embraces, and the promises they had made to each other. Carla stood and joined her children on the floor, her heart full as she played along, relishing the simplicity and happiness of their everyday life. Jordan walked in, a warm smile spreading across his face as he witnessed the joyful chaos. He knelt beside Carla, wrapping his arms around them both. "Look at this," he said, his voice filled with pride. "We created this beautiful life together." Carla beamed, leaning her head against his shoulder. "I still can't believe how far we've come. It feels like a dream." "Not a dream, a reality," Jordan replied, planting a soft kiss on her forehead. "And it's a reality that we fought for together." They shared a quiet moment, taking in the laughter of their children, the warmth of each other's presence, and the love that filled their home. It was a love that had been tested but had grown stronger, a bond that had flourished through adversity. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Carla and Jordan stepped outside, the children trailing behind them. They settled on the porch swing, feeling the gentle breeze against their skin. "Remember that day at the cabin?" Carla asked, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "Of course," Jordan replied, chuckling softly. "You said you wanted to take life one step at a time, and look at us now. I never imagined I'd be here, a mom with a loving husband and a beautiful family," Carla said, her voice filled with emotion. "I thought cancer would take so much from us. But instead, it gave us this life. A life full of love and purpose." Jordan nodded, pulling her closer. "We've turned our pain into passion. Together, we've made a difference, and I couldn't be prouder of what we've achieved." As they watched their children play, Carla realized that their journey was not just about surviving cancer, but thriving beyond it. They had turned their experiences into a source of strength, an opportunity to help others, and to embrace every moment of life with open arms. Carla took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face and the love of her family surrounding her. She knew that challenges would still come, but with Jordan by her side, she was ready to face them all. In that moment, everything felt right. They were not just survivors, they were thrivers, and together they would continue to create a beautiful life, one filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they sat in silence, hand in hand, embracing the promise of tomorrow. A tomorrow that held the potential for dreams fulfilled, memories made, and a love that would endure through every challenge life threw their way. The following day, Carla wakes up to the sound of laughter echoing through their cozy home. She smiles as she watches Jordan playfully chase their children, Maya, now 4, and Ethan, 2, around the living room. The morning sun filters through the windows, casting a warm glow over the scene. Carla takes a moment to soak it all in, the love, the joy, the life they've created together. As she sips her coffee, Carla reflects on how far they've come. 5 years ago, her world was turned upside down by a breast cancer diagnosis that had threatened to take everything from her. She had faced the darkness of her illness with Jordan by her side, and together, they had emerged stronger. Now, with 2 beautiful children and a life filled with love, Carla feels a deep sense of gratitude for the second chance at life. Maya runs over to her, tugging on her arm, wanting her to join in their game. Carla laughs, ruffling her daughter's hair as she chases Ethan around the couch. She catches Jordan's eye and they share a quiet moment of understanding. They have been through so much, but here they are, enjoying the simple pleasure of a Saturday morning with their children. Carla feels a profound sense of peace as she watches her family. Her health has been stable for 5 years, and she no longer wakes up in fear of what the day might bring. Every moment feels like a gift, and she holds on to it tightly, savoring the life they've built, one that felt almost impossible when she was first diagnosed. In this peaceful morning, Carla thinks about how perfect life seems, and silently thanks the universe for allowing her to be here, surrounded by the people she loves most. However, a small shadow of fear lingers at the edge of her thoughts, a quiet reminder of the fragility of life. But for now, she pushes it aside, choosing to focus on the present and the overwhelming love that fills her heart. What begins as a routine checkup turns into a nightmare. Carla sits in the familiar, sterile office of her oncologist, feeling strangely calm. It's been 5 years since her last treatment, and everything has been going so well. But when the doctor's expression shifts, her heart sinks. After a few moments of quiet, the words come, words she had hoped she would never hear again. The cancer is back, and this time, it's more aggressive. Carla's world crumbles in an instant. She can barely hear the rest of the doctor's explanation over the pounding in her ears. Her mind races. How could this be happening again? She had fought so hard, survived the battle once. She has a family now, 2 young children who need her, and the thought of leaving them devastates her. She numbly nods through the rest of the appointment, but nothing truly sinks in. The only thing she can think about is Jordan, waiting for her at home, and how she will tell him. When Carla arrives home, Jordan immediately senses something is wrong. He rushes to her side, concern filling his eyes. Carla struggles to speak, her voice cracking as she finally utters the words, "The cancer? It's back." She collapses into his arms, her body shaking with uncontrollable sobs. In the safety of Jordan's embrace, Carla allows herself to fall apart. The fear and disbelief overwhelm her as she clutches onto him, terrified of what lies ahead. "I can't do this again. What if I don't survive this time?" she whispers, the thought of leaving her children without a mother almost too much to bear. Jordan, though shaken to his core, remains steady. He holds Carla tighter, brushing her hair from her face and gently wiping away her tears. "We're going to fight this together, just like we did before. I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you. We'll face this, one step at a time." His words, though confident, carry the weight of his own heartbreak and fear. As Carla sobs in his arms, Jordan silently promises himself that he will be her strength, just as he has always been. He knows the road ahead will be harder than before, but he refuses to let her go through it alone. Carla's fight against cancer begins once more, but this time the battle feels more brutal. The chemotherapy hits harder, leaving her physically drained and emotionally fragile. Each session chips away at her strength. Her hair falls out in clumps, her body weakens from constant nausea, and exhaustion becomes her daily companion. Despite everything, Jordan is there for her at every turn. He accompanies her to treatments, holding her hand as they sit in the sterile hospital chairs. At home, he takes on the full load of caring for their children, managing the house, and attending to Carla's needs. Jordan doesn't complain, though the weight of his responsibilities is visible in the dark circles under his eyes. His love for Carla drives him to be her pillar of strength. Maya, their eldest, is no longer a toddler. At 4 years old, she's perceptive enough to notice that her mom isn't feeling well. One afternoon, as Carla rests on the couch, Maya climbs onto her lap, her small face full of concern. "Mommy, why are you so tired all the time, and why is your hair falling out?" Carla and Jordan exchange a glance, knowing they can't hide the truth much longer. They sit Maya down and explain gently, using words that a child her age can grasp. "Mommy is sick right now," Jordan says softly. "She has something called cancer, but the doctors are doing everything they can to make her better. That's why she's tired and her hair is falling out, but she's very strong." Maya listens intently, her big eyes wide with confusion and worry. Carla pulls her daughter into a hug, whispering, "I'm going to fight really hard to get better, sweetheart." Ethan, still too young to understand, toddles over and joins the hug, unaware of the seriousness surrounding him. Despite the pain and uncertainty, there are still moments of beauty and love that give them strength. Jordan does his best to bring little pockets of joy into Carla's life. He cooks her favorite meals, even when she struggles to keep food down, and surprises her with her favorite flowers. On days when Carla has a bit more energy, they snuggle together on the couch and watch old movies, reminiscing about happier times. They take slow walks in the park, even if it's only for a few minutes, enjoying the fresh air and each other's company. With her hand in his, Carla feels a sense of calm amidst the storm, knowing that no matter how hard the battle becomes, Jordan is her constant. Each small victory, whether it's a good day with fewer side effects or simply being able to laugh together, reminds them both of what they are fighting for. They know the road ahead is long, but their love, now battle-tested, remains stronger than ever. As Carla's condition deteriorates, Jordan's role expands into that of a single parent, caregiver, and provider. His days begin early, preparing breakfast for Maya and Ethan while making sure they're dressed and ready for school. He balances his work commitments with doctor's appointments, treatments, and late-night care for Carla. There are days when the exhaustion is so overwhelming that Jordan feels as though he can't keep going. But the love he has for his family fuels him forward. He hides his fear and exhaustion behind a brave face, determined to give his children a sense of stability in a world that's shifting beneath their feet. In the evenings, Jordan bathes the kids, tucks them into bed, and reads them bedtime stories, doing his best to maintain a routine. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, he cries alone, afraid of the future without Carla, but he never lets the children see his tears. He knows that, for now, they need him to be strong, just as Carla does. As her illness progresses, Carla's frustration grows. She watches helplessly as Jordan manages the household and cares for their children, a role she once held dear. She aches to be the mother she used to be, to chase after Maya and Ethan in the yard, to cook family meals, to comfort them when they cry. But her body betrays her, leaving her too weak to do the simplest tasks. The guilt is overwhelming. Carla feels like a burden to her family, especially Jordan, who carries the weight of everything. She sees the tiredness in his eyes, the stress in his shoulders, and wishes she could take it away. Every day she's reminded that she may not have much time left to be with them, and it breaks her heart. Carla confides in Jordan about her guilt one night as they lay in bed. "I feel like I'm leaving you alone in all of this," she whispers, tears slipping down her cheeks. Jordan kisses her forehead, holding her close. "You're not alone," he reassures her. "We're doing this together, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else." In rare moments of respite, when her strength returns for brief periods, Carla pushes herself to engage with Maya and Ethan. She reads them bedtime stories, her voice soft but full of love, and they curl up next to her, blissfully unaware of the gravity of the situation. These moments are a reminder of what she's fighting for. She holds on to the laughter of her children, their innocent giggles filling the room, offering a fleeting escape from the pain. One evening, Carla musters the energy to join Jordan and the kids in the living room. They sit together, wrapped in blankets, watching a family movie. For a moment, it feels like everything is as it should be, just a family, sharing love and warmth. But beneath the surface, Carla knows these moments are becoming more precious and rare. She smiles through her tears, knowing that every second she gets with them is a gift. These brief flashes of normalcy fill Carla with joy, but also a deep sorrow. She longs for more time, but through it all, she remains grateful for the love she has shared and continues to share with her family. Carla's health takes a devastating turn. The chemotherapy and other treatments no longer work, and her doctors have exhausted all options. She becomes bedridden, unable to care for herself. Each day she grows weaker, her body surrendering to the cancer. Despite the physical toll, Carla remains emotionally present, drawing strength from her love for Jordan and their children. Jordan watches helplessly as the love of his life fades before his eyes. His heart breaks every time he sees her wince in pain or struggle to breathe, but he never lets it show. He remains her rock, tending to her every need with tenderness and care. He feeds her when she's too weak to eat on her own, brushes her hair, and sits by her side for hours, holding her hand. Even in her most vulnerable moments, Jordan whispers words of love, reminding her of their unbreakable bond. As her body weakens, Carla's spirit remains strong. She cherishes the small moments, Maya's laughter, Ethan's innocent questions, and holds on to the memories they've made as a family. Jordan continues to manage the household, taking care of the children's daily needs while balancing his own grief and responsibilities. In the quiet moments when they are alone, Carla and Jordan have difficult but necessary conversations about the future. Carla knows that her time is running out, and she wants to make sure that Jordan and the children will be okay when she's gone. One evening, as Jordan sits beside her, she takes his hand. "Promise me," she says, her voice weak but resolute. "Promise me that you'll keep living. For you, for the kids. Don't let my death hold you back." Jordan's eyes well up with tears, but he nods. "I promise," he whispers, his voice cracking. "I'll make sure they always know how much you love them, and I'll try to live for you." They talk about the children, how Carla wants Maya to grow up knowing that her mother adored her, how Ethan should always feel his mother's love surrounding him even after she's gone. She gives Jordan advice on how to raise them, sharing her hopes and dreams for their future, knowing she won't be there to see them grow up. "I want them to be happy," she tells him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I want them to chase their dreams, and I want you to be there for them in every way I can't." These conversations are heartbreaking, but they also bring a sense of peace. Carla is able to express her deepest fears and desires, knowing that Jordan will honor her wishes. Though the pain of losing her feels unbearable, Jordan promises to keep her memory alive and to give their children the love and support they need. In these final days, their love transcends the suffering. The depth of their connection grows even stronger, as they both find solace in knowing that, no matter what, their love will endure beyond death. In the days following Carla's passing, Jordan is consumed by grief. The home that was once filled with her laughter and love now feels empty. Every corner reminds him of her. The scent of her perfume still lingers, and the echoes of her voice seem to reverberate through the silence. Jordan struggles with the immense weight of his sorrow, but he knows he cannot let it overwhelm him. Maya and Ethan, now motherless, need him more than ever. Though heartbroken, Jordan finds a way to keep moving forward for his children. He reads to them from the letters Carla left behind, filled with words of love and wisdom, meant to guide them through the moments she'll miss. Each letter becomes a lifeline, connecting Carla's spirit to the life she left behind. Jordan shares stories about her, how they met, how she fought with bravery and grace, and reassures the children that their mother will always be watching over them. On the toughest nights, when the kids are asleep, Jordan allows himself to break down, tears flowing freely as he mourns the love he lost. But every morning, he wakes up determined to be the father his children deserve, just as Carla had asked him to be. As the years pass, Jordan embraces his role as both mother and father to Maya and Ethan. He pours all his love and energy into raising them, ensuring that they grow up knowing who their mother was and how much she adored them. He shares her favorite stories, teaches them the lessons she wanted them to learn, and celebrates her memory in the everyday moments of their lives. When Maya asks about her mother, Jordan tells her how strong and courageous Carla was, how she fought to be with them for as long as she could. He helps Ethan understand the kind of love that transcends life and death, reassuring them both that their mother is always in their hearts. Despite the pain of loss, Jordan finds new strength in his role as a father. He sees glimpses of Carla in the children, Maya's smile, Ethan's quiet strength, and takes comfort in the knowledge that she is never truly gone. Together, they keep her memory alive, honoring her every day by living with the love and joy that Carla would have wanted for them. 5 years later, it's a sunny day as Jordan walks hand in hand with Maya and Ethan toward Carla's grave. The children, now 9 and 7, carry bouquets of Carla's favorite flowers, white lilies. Their annual visit to her resting place is no longer filled with tears, but with a warmth that reflects the love and strength Carla instilled in their family. Maya, mature beyond her years, talks about her mother with a depth of understanding. She shares stories she's heard countless times, piecing together memories from Jordan's retellings and the letters Carla left behind. Ethan, still young, listens intently, as though hearing these stories will help him feel closer to the mother he lost at such a tender age. Together, they place the flowers on the grave, standing in quiet reverence for the woman who continues to shape their lives, even in her absence. As they sit under the shade of a nearby tree, Jordan reflects on the incredible journey he shared with Carla. He thinks back to their love story, how they fell in love, faced life's greatest trials, and how cancer never stood a chance against the strength of their bond. Though her illness took her body, it could never diminish the love she gave him, or the joy they found in each other and their children. Jordan feels her presence in everything: the way the wind stirs the leaves, the sound of his children's laughter, and the memories that flood his mind. The pain of losing her has softened over time, replaced by gratitude for the years they had together and the beautiful legacy she left behind. As they prepare to leave, Jordan lingers by the grave, looking up at the clear sky. He whispers a quiet thank you to Carla, his voice filled with a mixture of love, sorrow, and peace. Though life without her has been challenging, he knows that their love is not bound by time or space. It is eternal, living on in their children, in the lessons they taught each other, and in every moment that he holds her memory close. As they walk back to the car, Maya and Ethan run ahead, laughing and playing. Jordan smiles, knowing that Carla would be proud of the life they've created despite the heartache. Their love, though shaped by loss, remains a constant, guiding him through every day. A love that will never fade. With a final glance at the sky, Jordan feels a deep sense of peace, knowing that their love story, though changed, will never truly end. The end. If you're enjoying the love stories here on True Hearts Novel, don't forget to subscribe. By subscribing, you'll never miss an update, and you'll be the first to know when we drop new romantic tales that will sweep you off your feet. Hit that notification bell too, so you'll get alerted whenever we post fresh content. Let's keep this journey of love going together. Subscribe now and stay tuned for more heartfelt stories.